republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before us, we have an agenda. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Don, second by Carol. Discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Okay, tonight we have a recognition. So, Jen Longhead, would you like to come forward? And this is Ann Rydell.
So I'm Ann Riegel, I'm the Winona Area Public Schools Community Education Director. I'm here on behalf of the Minnesota State Community Education Association to highlight 2 of your outstanding programs and acknowledgments that the State Association gave to Austin this year.
Okay,
And so,
just 1 minute. Can you turn the microphone on, please? Then we can hear you. Thank you.
is this better?
Very much so.
Okay,
Thank you.
Director. And so I want to thank you for your time, for putting time on the agenda for this. And as I said, in my role as a representative for Region 1, which also encompasses Austin, with the State Community Education Association, I'm going to highlight 2 significant accomplishments that Austin's community education programs had highlighted this year. The first one is the More Than Pink program, which is a summer program for girls in your community, grades 3 through 6th grade, that combines training for a 5K with personal development. It was one of 7, only 7 statewide community education programs that received acknowledgement at this fall's 2023 Community Education State Conference. More Than Pink was highlighted by the Community Education Association as being innovative, empowering, and a model program offered by Austin. The school district should be proud of this and many other strong programs that you're offered through your community education. And I encourage each of you to reach out to your director and to learn more about the More Than Pink program and other opportunities that community education offers. And I'm going to step aside and allow the staff to talk more specifically about the program and honor them with awards.
Thank you.
Yep.
And thanks, Ann, for coming down. And I apologize, I have whatever ickiness is going around.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to know. It's been a long, yucky one. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody in the state, and thanks Jen for nominating. It was Jen that nominated us. And I always like to, when I talk about More Than Pink, I always like to thank Amy Baskin, because it was me pestering her. Carolyn knows, like, for several years to just have a little faith and that this would work out and be a great program. And it is. So I always am really thankful for Amy. And I have some of the most amazing women standing behind me. They really are the heart of More Than Pink. They're the ones that are with the girls every day. They plan, they work, they laugh, they cry, they everything with our girls all summer long. And if it wasn't for them, this program would really be pretty boring, because it would be me, an old lady, hanging out with these young girls, you know, like, I think I'm aged out of some of that stuff. But I do just want to recognize really quick Danielle Nesfold, Sarah Wormiger Hernandez, and Lindsay Moritz. They have been with me from day 1 on More Than Pink, and they really are the heart of the program. And I know Don, I know several of you have been to some of our More Than Pink events, and so I just always encourage everybody to stop by this summer when we're working out, and then be at our 5K this summer. Thank you.
Okay, I've already told Terry that my coordinator will be reaching out to her for connections on this too. So the other highlight that I am very proud to announce to you is that Jennifer Lockhead, your Austin Community Education Director, was honored as the Fall 2023 Region 1 Community Educator of Excellence for this year. It's an honor given to individuals in the field of community education that demonstrate leadership, innovation, as well as community and statewide involvement. And Director Lockhead's work in the district in aligning early childhood to elementary programming and supporting the district's strategic plan was highlighted in her nomination. So my compliments to Director Lawhead on both of these accomplishments for her department. I appreciate personally working with Jennifer as a peer and value the knowledge and support she brings to community education. And so again, you should be proud of these highlights that your school district is offering to its community. It's just one of the many ones that your community education program offers. So congratulations to the school board as being part of that as well.
And I would just like to brag a little bit about the More Than Pink team. They are extraordinary. This program has been going on since my daughter was young enough to participate. She was in one of the first years that they ran. And teaching young ladies to be powerful and strong and proud of themselves and confident is just a gift that will travel through the community for young ladies that turn into women into our community. So also, thanks for this award, and I'm really lucky to work with an awesome group of Big Nine coordinators, so we've got a chance to learn from each other, and thank you so much.
Can I just ask a short question? I mean, I'm a great believer in Boys of Tomorrow and the Power of Pink, but my question is, you've been in existence for several years. Do you, I don't know if the word's track, but do you monitor, do you find out, do you keep track of these girls and how they're doing, and when they get into 7th grade and Ellis and onward?
So not Corey level data analysis, but anecdotally, we keep track of the girls.
I'll drink to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite our CLA representative to present our audit for 22-23. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. So I'm here to present the audit results for the fiscal year ended 6/30/2023. Craig Polkenhagen and Luke Green couldn't be here tonight, but I am Sterling Shoddick, here to present the audit. I'm going to start out by saying that the audit opinion was clean. We issued what we know as a clean audit report, which formed Yellow Book compliance. And we do that, and we had no compliance issues noted in the review of that Yellow Book items. No compliance issues were noted in our review of laws, regulations, contracts, and grants that we could have significant financial implications to the district. Also, during the course of the audit, we reviewed internal controls. No material weaknesses in internal controls over financials reporting were reported. Also, during the course of the audit, we performed a single audit, which is for the federal monies received. So during that, part of that single audit, we tested the district's compliance with requirements of the Child Nutrition Cluster and Education Stabilization Fund programs. Those were about $4.4 million and mostly consisted of COVID funding. 2 programs were tested and those had no findings were reported. So during the course of the presentation here, we just like to talk about what changed for audit regulations and guidance, and what GASB changes we had, and what future changes we were looking at. So during the current year, we had SBITA, which is also known as subscription-based information technology arrangements changes, and there was no material impact to financials regarding that GASB issuance. Future changes, we have reporting changes in accounting principles, changes in estimates, and corrections for errors. Those are coming out next fiscal year. And we also have compensated absences, GASB announcements coming out for fiscal year 25. Overall, very little impact on the statements for these items. So the next slide I have here is district enrollment ADMs on a 5-year trend. So overall, the district enrollments ADMs were pretty steady. In times in fiscal year 2020-21, there was a slight decrease, probably due to the COVID pandemic. In fiscal year 23, there was also a slight dip from the prior year. Now we're looking at it overall being steady, and projections have a slight increase for 24. The next graph here is unassigned general fund balances. So this consists of non-spendable, unassigned, assigned, and total fund balances, as well as restricted. So as you can see for fiscal year 23, the general fund balances increased just over $2 million from the prior year. Approximately $400,000 of that was in operating capital. $300,000 was attributed to the Adult Learning Center adult learning education and, long-term facilities maintenance fund balances. And the remainder of that was to an unassigned fund balance. Unassigned fund balance I'll, have on the next graph here. So the unassigned fund balance, increase $900,000 is noted approximately. Overall, unassigned fund balance as a percentage of expenditures increased about 1%, which is very, very nice. It's a nice trend in there. It's about 1% over the minimum policy now, so that is a great increase to see in that unassigned fund balance. Next graph here is general fund revenues. So in fiscal year 23, there was still a lot of COVID dollars coming in here, which were approximately 4.4 million. We would expect that federal piece for COVID revenues to decrease in fiscal year 24. Overall, compared to the prior year, percentages presented here, they're comparable to the prior year. The revenue came in about $250,000 over budget. Next graph here is general fund expenditures by program. In fiscal year 23, there was approximately 79 million in expenditures. The overall increase was right about 1.2 million in expenses. 1.5 million under the final budget numbers, so expenses were less than final budget is noted. The key thing to note out here is that people to regular, so 80% of the money is going directly to the students, which is a great number. That admin support and other costs are staying relatively low, so 80% to the students, great number to see. Next graph here is the food service fund balance. So in fiscal year 23, fund balance increased in the food service fund by approximately 150,000. It ended at 1.7 million approximately. Revenues were down about 600,000, driven by that federal dollar piece for COVID revenues in that food service fund. Expenses were up about 350,000 from the prior year, so that still was a positive impact to the fund balance, but as you can see, not as large as 22, of course. Budgeted to spend down approximately $700,000 of that fund balance in 23, but it actually increased slightly. So the thing to note here would be that the fund balance is about 45% of yearly Fund 2 expenditures for that food service fund. This is just under MDE's limit of 6 months in that food service fund. There's a limit, but it's not to the limit, but it's certainly a high number. And it's to be recommended that there should be some plans to spend down or have a plan for this larger fund balance in the food service fund. Community service, so fiscal year 23 for results here. So as to a background in community services is more of like a business type operation where the business should support itself. And it is doing so. Revenue was down about 180,000 and slightly under budget from the prior year. Expenses also down about 180,000 from the prior year and $250,000 under budget. Ended up increasing that fund balance by 260,000 to just get over $1 million in ending fund balance in this fund for community service. So all the main programs of the community service fund have a healthy fund balance. Another item to note here would be general fund expenditures per that adjusted unit of student, ADM. So overall general fund expenditures were up about 1.2 million as expected. The ADMs were all down a touch, bringing that number higher to $19,209 per student spend. So $450,000 of that $1.2 million piece was mostly salaries, $350,000 for admin and support, as well as some salary and benefits in that item. And overall, I'm going to present the graph here. So every year there's 21, 22, 23, and then that red column is for school districts with 4,000 and higher student metric, and the blue, that right column on the far right is the state average. As you can see that the district is well below the averages there, so it's good to see, and it's a good figure for general fund expenditure spend per student, so. With that said, I just wanted to be brief here, just to get an executive level, overview here, and I open the floor to any questions.
Are there any questions? Don?
Hi, my name is Don Withers.
Hi.
I've been on the board for many years, and we've always talked about that unfunded balance, or maybe I have the word wrong, but the unassigned fund balance.
Okay. Yes.
And it's always been 8.3, or it's been trying to keep it at 8.3, and now it's in the nines. How did I mean, we've been agonizing over that 8%, in my opinion, and now it's up there pretty, percentage higher. How do we account for that?
I believe I'll have to look into that question further as an official response, but I believe there was a change to fund balance policy at some point. So, but overall, I believe the minimum for that is, in that 8.8% range. Can I get back to you on that question?
Oh, yeah, it's a really rhetorical question.
Yeah,
I'm relieved it's over 8.3.
I can speak to that too a little bit. You know, one of the things we did a couple years ago, and as pointed out here, was changing our fund balance policy from striving to presenting the board with a number that was a strong target. And then from there, using, our metrics to, try to beat our budget every year. I think the other part with this is our strategic plan around our strategic priority number 4 of excellence in resource management, and working really hard to pay attention to that number, provide frequent updates to the board, but really, authorize or getting authorization from the board to approve a budget at our fund balance policy and working from there.
And that's not necessarily ask you, sir, but there was one chart that had instructional support and student support. Can you explain that difference between those two items?
Yeah, can you back out to the pie chart here?
This one, correct.
What's the difference?
Do you wanna take this one?
Repeat the question again, sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the left side there it says instructional support 5.7%, pupil support 9.4. What's the difference between instructional and pupil support? And I'm asking questions you're not prepared to answer. I know that's not my point. I'm just wondering what that means. And I'm wondering for the taxpayers would probably wonder what this is through the taxation. What can we tell them? If somebody asks me that question tomorrow, what can I tell them?
I think Dr. Joey can allude to that a little further.
Yep, so our instructional support would be our coaches, our academic interventionists, and our pupil support service would be anyone around social emotional supports or behavior supports that are not in the special ed category.
Thanks.
I have a question real quick, maybe not so much for you, but are the ESSER funds dried up or are they drying up this year?
I can take that if you want more specifics, but yeah, they will be ending here this.
I believe they are, yeah.
Yeah, so we will not be starting the school year with them.
Okay, is that, the referendum is making up for that, correct?
Helping,
Okay.
yes, yeah. So it's not gonna make up all of the funding that we received through COVID funds,
Okay.
so.
So the graph that had the peak, the green peak at the end, when the finance committee went through it, that one there, I think it is, the general fund balance, that green one is going to be considerably shorter next year because that's when the ESSER funds will fall off. So, which is, and we've had some pretty conservative fiscal management that is gonna ease us into that. A lot of the districts that are smaller districts are having a harder time losing those funds because they were more dependent on them being there. So, good job. Any other questions? Cece?
Dr. Page, when we talked about the food service fund and needing to spend that down, sake of the board meeting, could you tell us what kinds of discussions are going on to talk about where that money might be going to spend that down to a level that's more acceptable?
Yes, as indicated in the presentation here, we do have a healthy fund balance within our food service. So we are working with our food service director and doing some updates in our kitchens that would be appropriate use of those funds, updated equipment throughout the district that is aging out.
We had talked about that, about the co-op today, didn't we?
Correct.
And I'd like to also have a point on that too, we're seeing that in a lot of districts, that increased food service balance and such, so. There's a little.
Foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future, yeah, we have not heard any different information.
Thank you.
I'm not in the majority, so
Okay. Any further questions? This is an action item to accept the audit. Do I have a motion to accept? So moved by Peggy, second by Carolyn. Any discussion?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. CLA appreciates your relationship.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The audit's accepted. Thank you.
Thank you.
And looking at it, we need to delay our truth in taxation for a few minutes because it can't start before 6 o'clock. So we're gonna move on to delegations. This is the time when we invite people to speak to us who would like to share anything that's appropriate. Seeing none, we'll move on beyond that. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Chair Green, members of the board. A few things to note here since our last meeting. First, I just want to circle back here and just recognize Lars Johnson. He was our APS Teacher of the Year. And I just want to read a little bit about the community share here from David Brown. Because Lars Johnson is an exceptional teacher that not only challenges his students to work hard and expand their creativity in new ways, but each year he creates a classroom environment that is safe, welcoming, and empowering for all students. He ends the letter here with, I don't think there's anyone else that had the privilege of working with or meeting Lars would question any of this. And so we had a nice surprise for Lars over at Ellis Middle School. And again, I just want to congratulate him on his APS Teacher of the Year award. At 6 o'clock, we'll be getting into our Truth and Taxation meeting. But before we do that, I just want to send an official welcome to Todd Lechtenberg, who is our new Executive Director of Finance and Operations. Todd has an accomplished background from many positions and plays a critical role. His financial management and strategic thinking align very well to our district's objectives, and his dedication to a people-first approach and the ability to address challenges will undoubtedly enrich our school system. So I'm really excited to be working with Todd again, this time in the Austin Public Schools. So welcome, Todd. I want to thank the Hormel Foundation and the Board of Directors. Hormel Foundation distributed $25.6 billion to nonprofit agencies a couple weeks ago. The Austin Public Schools is very thankful for the Hormel Foundation's ongoing support. And this year, the district received $1.7 million in allocated funds to various programs like technology in our K-12 settings, the REACH program, Gifted and Talented, professional development, our music programs, and more. So thank you to the Hormel Foundation for supporting Austin Public Schools. We are working again with the Center of Applied Research and Educational Improvement, otherwise known as CARE. They are going to be conducting an English language learning program audit that will start after the winter break, and that is being supported by the Hormel Foundation this year. So we're excited to begin that work and looking for the recommendations that come out of it for the Austin Public Schools. Last week was Inclusive Schools Week, December 4th through the 10th, and this is an important commemoration of our school's progress in providing quality education to increasing diverse student population, including students with disabilities, And we've done an excellent job here in the Austin Public Schools. The theme for this year was Draw Me In, and we've shared some information and communications about this. I would like to highlight, we just received notice that Austin High School is being recognized as a Special Olympics Unified Champion School. So they will be joining I.J. Holton as a unified school. I believe we have some other schools in our system that are working through the application process for that designation. We are working with our transition with Woodson into our neighborhood schools. Many of our staff placements are already in place and we have more to do. The teams are set to start meeting with their building principals beginning next week, and we have some additional meetings that will be scheduled after the winter break. And as I shared, this is a really important step as we launch the 2024 school year. We have a lot of great events that are happening around the district, obviously with all of our sports and activities, even tonight. Auditorium, we have our Ellis Holton Band concert that starts at 6. And then the orchestra is at 7:15. Today, the Austin Airs performed at Rotary. And we have all of the athletic events occurring, so it is a very busy time in our school system. Lastly, I just want to take a minute here to recognize Carol McAllister. I have a leadership development certificate for her for completing the MSBA workshop series of phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. And Carol will be recognized at the Leadership Conference Recognition Luncheon on Thursday, January 11th. So, congratulations, Carol. That's my report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, Dr. Page, that having substituted over at Ellis several times, it didn't take long to realize that Lars was an outstanding presence over there. And there are a lot of wonderful teachers at Ellis, but you can just tell Lars handled himself really well, so good for him. Good for him.
Thank you. And at this point, we're gonna move it up so we can have our students, school board members present. As we know, this is a busy time of the year, and so we want them to be able to get to their events. So, Nars? All right.
Superintendent Page, Chairperson Green, and members of the board, my name is Naris. I'm your 12th grade representative, and I will be presenting to you the first half of the student report. I'm excited to share with you what is going on at Austin High School. Starting off, on December 13th, there is a hands-on scholarship writing session for seniors from 3:30 to 5, and during this session, students will learn how to write impactful scholarship essays and secure letters of recommendation, which is very useful for the college admission process. Last week, a group of AHS student leaders had the opportunity to attend the Minnesota State High School League Student Leadership Conference at the St. Paul River Center, where they learned from various speakers and attended breakout sessions. Last month, youth leadership also held their blood drive with Red Cross. Many students showed up to help donate blood and help out the community, which was great. Looking to December, NHS is planning their winter service project, which will be crafting holiday boxes to send to nursing homes in our community for the holidays. Winter sports at AHS, including girls and boys hockey, girls and boys basketball, gymnastics, wrestling, boys swim and dive, and APT have been going well, and we're excited to see their performance throughout the season, with support from our student section and pep band. The same can be said for the various activities at AHS, such as our music groups, student council, NHS, art club, youth leadership, speech, Go Green, theater club, and more, allowing students to have lots of opportunities to get involved during their time at AHS this winter. That is all I have to report today. Are there any questions?
That's a wonderful report. Who did you say was gonna do the boxes for the nursing homes?
NHS.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your busy season. Anita, welcome.
Hi, Superintendent Page, Chairperson Green, and members of the board. My name is Amina Rao, and I am your 11th grade representative for this year, and I will be presenting to you the second half of the student report. A lot is going on at AHS as winter break slowly approaches. Registration for second semester is starting today and will end January 11th, so students will need to make final adjustments to their schedule and sign up for their classes. Finals is hitting AHS students who attend PSEO classes at Riverland, and as Riverland's fall semester wraps up this Friday on the 15th. Winter break for the whole district starts on December 22nd, and it is also the last school day of 2023. Students will return to finish out the semester on January 2nd, and with first semester ending on the 11th. Looking over to the music department, La Ferre, Choraleers, Flute Choir, Jazz Band, and Austineers performed last Saturday at the Paramount for the annual Sound of the Seasons fundraiser to raise money for the music department. There is also a holiday concert on December 18th at 7 p.m. featuring symphony orchestra, Austineers, Choraleers, and wind ensemble. As the holidays get closer and closer, Student Council is working hard to bring the holiday spirit to AHS. This Friday, there will be a pep fest to kick off winter break. From December 18th to December 22nd, Student Council will be providing hot chocolate, donuts, pop, and popcorn for sale in the mornings and during lunch. They will also have a treat trolley with various goodies for purchase. Along with all the yummy treats that students can buy, they can also purchase candy grams to have treats delivered to classmates as a fun way to spread holiday cheer. Throughout this week, Student Council will be also hosting some fun events, and holiday-themed inflatables will be present during the lunch period. The student body always appreciates Student Council going above and beyond to create a fun and exciting high school experience, and December is no exception. With that, we can't wait to see how the final weeks of semester play out, and this concludes the second half of the student report. Thank you so much for your time. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, Don?
Yeah, I don't mean to pry and get any of your secrets, but do you two girls sometime during the course of the month sit down and plan, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that? You do that?
We usually meet the Friday before the Monday meeting, so.
And you meet in school or in Culver's or?
We usually fifth period and meet with, Mr. Schmidt,
Okay.
the principal, so yeah, and kind of figure out what events we want to talk about and how we want to split it up.
Well, it seems to be working.
Yeah, definitely helps a lot to get everything planned out.
Okay, thank you.
And in life skills, you're gonna be able to use it moving forward.
Yes, of course.
Good.
Any other questions?
Seeing none, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here. We appreciate your time. Okay, at this point, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Page, and he's gonna kick off our Truth and Taxation meeting.
Yes, thank you, Chair Green, members of the board. Todd Lechtenberg, was I just introduced, will be here tonight, even before his contract's approved here in a few minutes. So, but we're very excited again to welcome Todd to the Austin Public Schools, and I will turn it over to him. So.
I was gonna joke, and this is the first time in 11 years I've presented a program and contract, so hopefully I do well with this.
Still interviewing.
Yeah, still interviewing. So thank you guys for letting me come in tonight. I appreciate it. I want to thank Julie for putting these slides together. I was able to sit down with her a little bit before she headed on vacation. So again, part of this agenda is we gotta go through the legal requirements, why we're here, what is the Minnesota, sorry, I guess I'm closer to this. What is the Minnesota Truth and Taxation Law? We're going through the current year, the FY24. The auditors just kind of walked through the FY23 school year, so we'll walk through the FY24 budget. Talk through the taxes, the payrolls are coming in FY24. That will get in school year 25, and then estimate on taxpayers, open it up for public comments, and then some other supplemental information. So the biggest thing, and the slide we always start with is, when we look at our school district tax levy, there's two parts of it. There's a voter approved, that is the operating referendum and the building referendum, or the other one is the state law. So in the past 3 to 4 years, the state has turned a lot more of that into the state law and less voter approved. So the local optional is the state law, When we look at that, so the only two things that are under voter approved right now are our building referendum and our operating referendum. I like this slide because I feel like when I'm up here talking, I'm talking 22, I talk years, and this just shows that we always are waiting on the legislators to set the budget. This was a funding year, so we let them, they go through theirs, they set theirs around May. Then we start our tax levy in August. We're here tonight in December to do the June taxation. And then we start collecting that January of 2024, but that doesn't go into our fiscal year to 2025. So if that makes sense, taxpayers will pay us that in May, and then they'll pay again in November, but that is, what we're talking about tonight is for next school year. It is not for anything that is in this school year. So that kind of, I'll stop there and make sure that makes kind of sense on the years we're crossing here. And so now we're gonna kind of go through our school funding and district budget. This is a slide that I know MRA has given us and looks at it. The blue line, or let me start with the dotted line. The dotted line is right now what we are receiving. So for FY23, going up to 25, you're looking at 7,281. That is the actual money we're receiving per student. If you look at the blue line, and you look at the weight changes in inflation, we should be closer to 8,500. This is just to show, this is not going anywhere other than to say right now what we feel as districts that we are below what the inflation should be on students. And it is continually makes our job as school boards and as finance directors difficult. So when we look at what is this year's budget looking like, in the general fund right now we're looking at revenues about 86 million, expenditures about 82 million. We kind of talked about food service. One thing with food service, seems like since 2020 we've been talking about we need a normal year. And this year's another non-normal year just because the state is funding all meals now. So again, we're gonna learn through this year. We'll continually learn at that budget. So right now we're projecting about 3.5 million in revenue and expenditure 3.8. But we will definitely look into that here shortly. And then we have community ed, debt services, and we'll go through that tonight, internal services and that. So right now our budget that was approved in June is 107, almost 108 million in revenue and expenditures of 104. I know one of the first things when I started here is Julie and I need to get through the revised budget and get that to you, so we're looking forward to bringing that forward to you guys. This is another way, this is with our audit being presented, this we have to get out to the public, it has to go in the official newspaper, and has to go on our website. So again, it's just another way of looking at what CLA presented in the first 4 columns. What right now we believe our budget is, the adopted budget that you guys approved in June, and what our projected fund balance is. So this is a state requirement that it goes in our local it goes in our local newspaper, I apologize, and goes on our website. So it's just another way to look at our numbers. I know Clifton showed this. This is our way of looking at it. Again, as we've said before, the ESSER and the COVID funds are starting to slow down. So you'll notice a shift in FY24 that about 79% of the money that our budget is built off is coming from state aids. You'll see that the federal is falling back into that 5%. That is a reflection of the ESSER and COVID funds slowing down. One of the things we always look at with this, 79% of our funding is coming from state aid, which is pupil driven. That's why it's very important for us to be looking out a year or two to see what our pupils are doing, because as you can tell, we are very dependent on enrollment. Another way of looking at this is looking at our general expenditures. And right now, if you take the salaries and employee benefits and you add those together, that's 81%. So when you're looking at our expenditures right now, 81% of our expenditures are going to direct staffing. So the slide before talks about enrollment and how we're heavily dependent on that. That's why it's important that we're always looking at enrollment a year or two out with our staffing. Because if enrollment changes, we have to be able to make that change. So before I go into the proposed tax levy, any questions on the adopted budget, just the adopted budget at this time?
Karen? I do have one question, sorry to hit you out. On that fiscal year adopted budget, there's the other local revenue category. What is all included in other local revenue?
I'm going to talk at a high level on that because I don't have all the details. That's going to be, and there's going to be athletic admissions, also it's gonna be miscellaneous, our donations are gonna be in there. Student activity fees to play is gonna be in there. Those are the big tickets.
Okay,
I can get into more details on that, but that's high level what should be in that account.
okay, thank you.
I asked you a question about, you had a chart that had, inflationary numbers. It had to do with, I think, what students receive or what we receive from students. And the numbers are 7 and 8. Now, when the auditor was here, he showed us a general fund expenditure per ADM, and, the state average is 18,914. The top 400 districts is 19,209, and we're 17,264. Where does that additional $8,000 or $9,000 come from?
So what this number right here is just the basic formula. So it's $7,281 for a K through 6 student. When you go into the 7-12 student, that gets times 1.2. Also what's not in here is special education. What is not in here is compensatory, thank you. So there's this is just the basic formula, and then we've got the compensatory, which is the free and reduced. We've got operating capital that goes on top of that. We've got transportation, and we got staff development. We got all these other formulas that go on top of that get us up to what it is per student. The reason this presentation is shown this way is every school in Minnesota gets at least 7,281, and then it's based on their demographics and how much more above that they are.
And those dollars come from the state of Minnesota.
Some of those dollar amounts come from the state of Minnesota, some of that comes from the levy. Every year, and that's where we talk through this. If a levy is going up or going down, that does not mean our revenue as a district is going up or down. The state will look at it and they might, and we'll talk through it when we get to community ed. Sometimes they'll shift money and have it more state driven and less taxpayer driven. So the total number stays the same to the district, it's just how it gets funded to us. So it is some from the state, some from the taxpayer. So that's what makes my job, and I love it so much, complicated, is it does change. And we get kept on our toes, and we get to learn a lot every single legislative year, and I look forward to it always about that. So does that kind of answer?
Well, I look forward to that too, that's what I'm asking you. The thing that gets me, Dr. Page, is you look at that one chart, and federal dollars are 9.5% with ESSER, and then it goes back to 5, and you've got the state at 47%. And I don't want to sound like a reactionary, but what's the point of the Department of Education on a national level? You know, that special ed, they do all these onerous laws, and then they don't fund them. It's an unfair, right? I mean, the numbers is, I mean, I've been at delegate assembly, and there've been some years we've had 8 or 9 different proposals about getting that dollars up, and the federal government, I just don't know if it even supports this on the local level. That's why local control is so important. I mean, I'm going to preach. You're doing a good job. Thank you.
Sorry, I got one more question. So on your fiscal year 2023-2024 budget, what is the OPED irrevocable trust fund? What's all included?
Okay, I'll go that side. So OPEB stands for Other Post-Employee Benefits. So those are retirees getting health insurance. And what the irrevocable trust means is right now we have a trust set aside to help fund that so that we do not have to take that out of our general revenue that we're getting from the state. So that's just another way to pay for benefits after staff is retired.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are you going to the next set?
I can, or I can keep answering questions. I'm good either way.
Okay, are there any public that would like to ask questions? We wanna leave it wide open, so, okay.
Lots of public here.
Go
Do you have any questions? Lots of public here. We're good.
So we will move into kind of the taxes payable. This is small, I apologize, but this is to look at how the general fund, and the next few slides are just gonna break this up, different ways of looking at this. So overall, our general fund, which is in the blue, last levy was 7.5 million. This levy is 7.7, so it's going up about $230,000, or about 3.1%. One of the biggest changes on this is you're gonna look at on the very top is the operating referendum is going up 17%, or $277,000. With the local optional, that is the $724, and that is based on enrollment. So as enrollment changes, that number is gonna go up and down. When we get into equity and transition, that is based on the state comparing us to other districts in the state in a complicated formula. So I'm just gonna keep that for right now. Operating capital, achievement integration, those are based on enrollments in the plan. One thing I just wanna call out on here, because there's been a lot of talk about it, is the reemployment or unemployment insurance. This is only the unemployment insurance that was pre-summer. So when we talk about summer unemployment, that is going to a different object code, and we are not allowed to levy that. So when you looked at this last May, and we went into employees that do not work during the summer can collect unemployment, that is not a part of this number. We are not allowed per the statute to levy for that. So this would be anything above and beyond that. Then we have our safe school, our career and tech, and all that. So overall, the general fund is went up 3.1%. Community ed, when we look at this right now, this is where it's kind of dangerous sometimes to look at total numbers. Community ed looks like it's going down $100,000, but this is a shift in that top one of that going more to being state aid funded and less taxpayers funded. So that means now that is coming from the state directly through a formula change. So again, community ed is not going down 100,000, just the levy of the taxpayers portion is going down 100,000 or 29%. When we go to debt service, the debt is based on our current debt, and then we levy 5% above that. The reason we have to levy 5% above that is if our taxpayers are delinquent, we still have to make our debt payment. So we're allowed to levy 5%, and then what happens is the state continually goes and looks through that and says, okay, you are either not having as much delinquents or you're having more, and they'll make that change each year. So again, that's why if you look at that voter approved debt, that is not gonna be the exact dollar amount, it is 5% above that so that we're allowed to make our debt payment. So overall, the levy is going from 10.6 million to 10.7, or is going up about 1.32%. Another way of just looking at this, because this has been a lot of questions lately, is what can the voters vote approved and what is not voter approved? And in the past, there's a lot more things we had to go out to the voters, like the local optional used to be voter approved, now it's moved to board approved. The state has moved some of that stuff. So again, as you look at this, the voter approved is only the operating referendum and building. Everything else, the state sets the formula and then the board controls approving that. So this is just another way of looking at how that levy is split down. And this is important because when taxpayers get their tax statement, it's gonna say total voter approved, and it's gonna say total non-voter approved. That's why we kind of want this to be one of the slides we present. So before I move on to how this impacts the taxpayers, any questions? And I apologize, I go fast, so you have to slow me down on these things. Yep.
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier, the taxes raised are for the 20 years, you had those three coming, for the 24-25 school year. Are we receiving any money for the READ Act in this, for 24-25?
We have some literacy aid, that's coming into the district, but, you know, that's nothing that comes in specifically for the READ Act. That'll be general fund.
When did you say there was a finite pool of money to train teachers for the?
For the READ Act, no.
Wasn't the READ Act passed this last?
It was.
And in your document that you had handed out, you put down that the third grade reading proficiency was now no longer in effect because of the READ Act.
Correct, for World's Best Workforce, yep. And they did set aside, what was articulated at the beginning was they did set aside 35 million for curriculum purchases. And that list will be made public January 1st. But they did not set anything aside particularly for training.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, if
We get kept on our toes and just continually do the weekend with the funding. So again, when we look here, now we're gonna kind of talk through the taxpayers, and one of the slides that's not in here that I usually will say too is this, there's three parts to the property tax. There's a city, there's a county, and then there's the state. We have control over the school side of it, not the other two. So again, what can make the property tax changes? If we had a voter approved referendums, our enrollment changes. With this levy document, it is 40 pages long, and it is 4 years looking back. It was amazing when I took this job 10 years ago, I didn't realize how complicated going from taxpayers funded into the school was. I thought, oh, this is school finances. Yeah, so again, we're always looking back. We do have legislative changes. We're always thankful for the funding we get, and we continually move forward on that. There are market value changes that the county will make and the state will make, which is outside of our control in this room, and then there's changes in what the class rates in that. So we put a slide here together. I want to thank PMA. They're an amazing group to work with, and I've worked with them in the past, where they have gone through and figured out on a homestead, it was $190,000 value, that actually for that $190,000, last year they paid $763, they're going down to $760. So again, as we go through all this, we're going up 1.3%, but based on the value of the house and value of everything, some areas are going down, some areas are going up. So we just continually go through this with PMA, and if there's questions, that's why PMA is behind us, and they'll answer a bunch of those questions on that. But you can kind of see an estimated impact of this. But for the most part, most of them are gonna see a decrease. This is just another way of looking at 190,000 is just looking at exactly how much on the very bottom, that is the operating levy. And then we get into the local optional equity, which is board controlled. And then we move into, now we've got the bonds, the capital, the building projects, we have the debt project, and then we get into the long-term facility maintenance and operating. So it just kind of shows how all this works. The blue at the very bottom and the green in the middle, those are the board, or those are, I'm sorry, I meant to say, the voter approved bonds at $89 and the 166 is what the voters approve. Everything else comes off our enrollment and the board approving tonight. This is just another way, we do this referendum market value just to show the referendum market value and the net tax capacity are formulas the state works on with the county, and that they look at the market value of the house. That is nothing anybody around this table, that is nothing that MDE does, that is all the county worked on that, and they set these. If you can, as you can tell on this slide, it's changed significantly. You'll see that huge increase in 2023, and you're seeing now we're kind of level off a little bit what we believe in 2024. So I'm gonna turn this over to the public comments and that. I apologize, I do not have access, but we will get, or actually we have it right. We have to get you guys a levy certification form. I will get that when Julie's back in, and we'll get the clerk to sign that. Or do you have it? Yep. Perfect. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come in. I look forward to January getting here and starting officially. So I will open up to any questions or comments.
Any further questions or comments from our audience or our board? I thank you very much.
Thank you.
That will end the hearing. Okay, we're on to our consent agenda. Do we have, do I have a motion to approve or? Oh, okay, we're gonna backtrack because we're like all over the chart today. We're gonna do our board reports, so I'm going to welcome any reports that board members had for the past month. It's been an exciting month as far as concerts, so.
I have.
Carolyn?
So I'm going to represent the Austin Public Education Foundation for a moment and share that our educational grant application window will be opening January 1st. Nothing will prevent teachers from applying sooner should they feel the need to do something over their winter break, they can do that. And also, the grant application process has gone digital. We are no longer requiring for paper copies to be mailed via inter-office mail. So, hopefully we can get a ton of requests for, grant funding through the Austin Public Ed Foundation.
Thank you. And further? Okay, so now, Cece.
I just, I don't even wanna bring it up, but I'm going to. We had a little critter issue, I'm not sure any of you have heard of it. Yeah. I just wanna compliment, the district on the way that was handled. I know that through social media, and I know how grotesque it is, and I know what it does to families, and, this isn't the first time or the last time that the district will experience something like this. I am very impressed with the communication the board received, not once, twice, but many times a day. I think the superintendent and his team did an excellent job of listening to what the kids and the teachers and the community were saying, and they took appropriate action, and it was taken care of immediately. And I just ask that the community continues to trust that the kids in the Austin Public Schools are of a top priority and always will be in the decision making. So thank you for taking care of that so efficiently.
I was gonna say, we also learned that there's dogs that sniff the smell. So I feel like we all learned something this last week, so way to go Baxter.
We're always teaching.
That is good, and I learned more about Baxter's pedigree this morning, and I was most impressed. So, he does a lot of work, and he works for Kibbles. So, that's very good.
Like that's his payment?
Oh, yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Versus the company?
Well, that's what the company pays him.
Oh, awesome.
Now, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve or any amendments that would like to be made? Moved by Peggy, is there a second? Second by Evan, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Nothing to remove from the consent agenda, but I just wanted to say to all of you who, do the cabinet reports, how much I greatly appreciate reading those. I learn a lot from them, and I just wanted to comment about, Sherry had in yours about the sped student that was chosen to be in a promotional commercial. How exciting.
Very exciting, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 12, request approval of final certified 2023 payable 2024 levy. This is an action item. Our Executive Director of Finance and Operations did.
He had another presentation.
He has another presentation. We're going to hand this off to Joey again.
Yes. So the district approved the preliminary levy in the amount of $10,704,090.22 in September of 2023, and this represents an increase of 1.32% over the previous year. Recommendation tonight is for the school board to approve the final page 24 levy certification in the amount of $10,704,090.22, representing the 1.32% increase that was just shared in our truth and taxation hearing.
Do I have a motion to approve the 1.32% increase? So moved by Don, is there a second? Second by Carol, discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have request approval of donations. This is an action item. Dr. Page will present.
Yes, thank you, Chair Green and members of the board. We have a number of donations to go through tonight, and we're very appreciative of all of our donors Our first one is Hormel Foods for $200 for Awesome Girls Hockey. Next, the American Legion had 2 donations, one for $4,000 and one for $5,000. Those were for softball and Ellis Robotics. Jacob and Stephanie Zimmerly donated $150 to AHS Gymnastics, and Walter and Patricia Hall donated $100 to basketball, both boys and girls teams. Our parent group donated $1,500 to Austin High School Student Council for the treat trolley supplies. The Austin Convention and Visitors Bureau donated $100 for Austin High School Robotics for general supplies. IBI Data donated $100 for Austin High School football for program needs. And Josh Bendixson and Joseph Hoopman donated $25 each for the school supply fundraiser for school supplies expenses. And then On Time Sports contributed or donated $350 for Austin High School athletics for program needs.
Do I have a motion to approve the donations?
So moved.
So moved by Stacy, second by Carolyn. Discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Anita. Anita, when this parent group donated money to the treat trolley supplies, is that gonna be a conflict with selling popcorn and hot chocolate over the last couple of weeks for Christmas? I go around school every day in the morning and you can buy things on it?
So, and during lunch period is when we sell the morning at lunch.
Oh, you'll have no problem with that.
They compliment each other, right? Everyone makes a little, options, there's an option. Maybe a little bit popcorn one day, maybe we'll get something from it.
Good job.
Good answer.
Okay. We voted on, did we vote on that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Okay, request approval of combined polling places resolution for 2024. Dr. Page to present this as an action item.
Was there a question on the?
We did vote on that.
No, we had
This
discussion.
is alms.
It was moved and seconded, and then he asked the question.
Okay, we'll vote on the approval of the donations. Is that where we? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I couldn't have voted for that if there was a conflict between the treat trolley. Thanks for clarifying.
Stop the presses.
Today.
This is good. Okay, now we are on to a request approval of combined polling places resolutions for 2024. Dr. Page will present.
Yes, Chair Green, members of the board, this is the annual resolution for combined polling places. Should we need or hold a vote this coming school year. So we do this to comply with state law, that we combine all of our polling places.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve? Second?
I second that.
Second, Donna, discussion? All in favor?
When you say combine the polling places,
Yes, so we have a number of polling places that are around the district, so we have the resolution from the board that would have a central locations for those.
Would that be just for education election, or would that be for a
For ours.
general election?
Yeah, those would be for our school district elections.
At what point would we make that determination?
The board would call a referendum or tax levy or a special election, yeah.
so it gives an option to combine.
Yes,
Okay.
you do not have to combine them. The recommendation is you do combine them.
Okay.
Yes.
So would this come before us again if we did actually have an election come up?
No, this would become before you again in December. This would be the resolution for the following year. You have to do it 1 year in advance. So you have to do it a year ahead. That are all of our locations that we have around our school district, so that we've been voting in.
So I think there's so would this mean we have one location. During COVID, I know we had one location that seemed to be the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, I'm not sure where
This
you're,
means that you can
Yeah.
have one location. That is up to our discretion, but if you don't say that, then we have the possibility of, consolidating into one spot, then we forfeit that right. If we don't say yes.
So if we don't say consolidation,
Then you have to have,
For
then you have
everyone.
to have all the places, and you have to staff all the places.
But we approve this every year.
every year.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, board, every year.
Is this your recommendation to do this?
Strongly.
There you go.
So moved.
okay, we've got a motion by Carolyn. Okay, and we're in the discussion phase, and we've had a discussion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, request approval to change the name of the Woodson Kindergarten Center. This is an action item Dr. Page will present.
Yes, beginning in the 24-25 school year, all kindergarten students will return to their neighborhood elementary schools. At the work session that we had in Waitsfield, we talked about this was an item that would be coming before the board tonight. The rationale here is the site will primarily serve as a hub for early childhood programming. There is a potential for incorporating additional programs down the road. The recommendation tonight will be to rename Woodson Kindergarten Center to Woodson Education Center starting on July 1st, 2024.
Do I have a motion to approve the changing of the name of the Woodson Kindergarten Center to the Woodson Education Center? Moved by Peggy, is there a second? Second by Carol, discussion? It's a really pretty inclusive name that we will cover all the programming we've got going. So, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have a list of policies to be revised. This is the second reading, at which point we have an action item. We have item 413. Should we do these all one at a time?
Sure can.
Okay. Policy 413 on harassment and violence. Do I have a motion to approve?
So, second.
Moved by Peggy, second by Cece. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 416, drug, alcohol, and cannabis testing. Do I have a motion to approve? So moved by Peggy. Second by Carolyn. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Policy 506 on student discipline. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Don. Is there a second? Second by Evan. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Policy 506, the form, compliant, or complaint procedure. Do I have a motion to approve? Carol moved. Is there a second? Second by Carolyn. Discussion?
Has this been altered a little bit, Evan? I mean, there for a while, there was, some of the police officers, the SROs in the state felt like they were in jeopardy over some of the legislation from last year. And now has a police officers union or law enforcement union or the Attorney General stepped in and kind of modified with their input?
As far as I know, it wasn't rectified yet. I hope that they work on it this next year, because I think it was overlooked at the time it was passed. But I think they recognized the mistake and they rectified it.
Like, in Roman numeral 4 prohibitions, number 2, that green information, is that something that's been added that makes it a little bit less punitive? And you can come in and, so I mean, it Has this been added, Dr. Page?
Yes, this has been added. The Attorney General issued 2 opinions on this, so the corresponding green are aligned to those 2 opinions that were issued by our State Attorney General.
Yeah, so it's a little bit less, let's say, restricted maybe perhaps, or?
I think the opinions that were offered here by the Attorney General are trying to make it clearer for the responding officers.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question just as to the inclusion of the procedure in a form in the policy. Is that a mandate, or we don't typically do that? So I'm just curious.
Typically do procedures? Or?
Right, the procedure is separate from the policy.
Right, so this was, yes, included from the MSBA models of policy. They have a complaint form attached to it.
Do we know why for this particular, we have forms for lots of different policies. Why this one would be attached as part of the approval?
Part of the legislation that came out as within the law was there had to be a process in place for families to be able to challenge what was done. And so that's where we responding to that in this policy.
They must have had doubt as to whether some districts were following through on that, is that why they perhaps included it as part of the policy
Maybe.
approval? Okay, thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 507, corporal punishment and prone restraint. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Evan, is there a second? Peggy, discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Policy 515, form protection and privacy of pupil records. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Susie, seconded by Carolyn. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Policy 613, graduation requirements. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Carolyn, second. Second by Carol. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
One quick question.
You sure can.
Superintendent Page, do you know, is MSBA moving toward more form and procedure included in the policy approval? I mean, we just happen to have 2 tonight, so I'm wondering if that's a movement that they're making.
I think they will make reference to them. I think some of them that have come out with the legislation, or you're starting to see that more. And I think that's one, just making it clear for the general public on, if there is a question that's raised, how does that process work? So I think they are making sort of efforts to make sure that it's available and visible to the public.
Or prior to now, it's just been stated that there is a procedure in here, so you start that procedure. Now they want it actually included in the approval of.
It appears to be that way.
Okay.
At this point, we are going to review the results of Superintendent Joey Page's recent evaluation. I will read our summary and then it will be an action item. On November 13th, 2023, the Austin Public School Board entered into closed session for the purpose of conducting the annual review of Superintendent Dr. Joey Page. The school board found many points of pride to be satisfied with his leadership and the direction of the district. His respectful and professional manner has brought focus and measured gains to our long-range strategic plan. The strategic document's leading staff endeavors are concise and understandable, recognized throughout the district and the community. Students across the district are being supported through instruction and resources. Communications throughout the district and community are exemplary, with the understanding that they are a vital source of our working. On a broader spectrum, our district is being recognized for being a leader in development of educational and governance actions. It is with respectful acknowledgement of Dr. Joey Page's leadership that the school board presents this evaluation of his performance. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Peggy, is there a second? Second by Carol. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Page. A reminder that we do not have a study session in December, that's during break. And the organizational meeting will be at 5:30 on Monday, January 8th, 2024. And the regular meeting will immediately follow the organizational meeting. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Peggy, second. Second by Evan. Discussion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
I'm wearing that.
That Christmas concert was so fun. The kids, the little kindergartners. I know when I was a kindergartner, you just stand there, but now you have like the penguins walking around and all the.
Get to be